Hello, Consuelo and welcome to 2023 Book Fair. Tell your story. We have a new author to the platform. I'm so happy to interview you. Please tell everybody who you are and tell us about your book.
My name is Kata E.K. So I'm an author. I've been writing since I was 13. Let's see. I started my main genre is poetry. But I've also written a dark romance novella, a children's educational series, and a book that teaches other people how to self-publish because I've actually been self-published. I've written 8 books.
Okay.
Forgive me, I do say a lot. That's a bad thing. I have actually have them sitting right here. So my very first book was called The Girl to the Writer, The Death of My Soul. And it's all the poems from when I started writing poetry till I was about 22-ish, 23 maybe. And then like it's so crazy because I watched my writing get better, like the way my style evolves. Because I used to believe that poetry had to rhyme or it wasn't a poem, but now I just like write whatever comes to mind. The second book is called A Deeper Me, a depth deeper than the last, and that's from like 22 to 25, 27 ish maybe. The number I'm gonna start forgetting the ages because it's just like I just started writing books and it just happened. One time I wanted to just get a lot of stuff out, and I didn't really have like uh like a format. So it was I had writer's block. So I just started writing like a bunch of little tiny poems just to keep the flow going. And that's when I came out with Treasure Chest, which is a pocket sized poetry book. So it's got quotes that I've come up with and over time and then like little tiny poems. And I call them poem minis because it starts out with like two lines and then it progresses 3, 4, 7, 16. The next poetry book is um Emotionally Unhinged. So this is when I realized I was going through a whole lot of stuff toward my late 20 or late, I'm in my late 30s. So towards my late 30s, I was going through a whole lot of stuff emotionally and voicing my opinion more and being more vocal. And that's when I stopped caring about what society thought, what I thought society, I didn't care about the opinions of society. So like I wouldn't write certain things because I didn't want people to judge me. And that's when I just didn't care anymore. So that's why it's called Emotionally Unhinged. It's just like an unfiltered version of myself. And then the last poetry book is actually, this was like 10 years in the making because I always wanted to write this, but I was so nervous. It's totally out of my norm, but it's called Coming Soon. And this is the erotic poetry book. And I mean, some of my best work yet. The first two poetry books have, in the back of them, they have I feature other poets because a lot of people don't want to write a book. They just want to write poetry. And sometimes they just want to showcase their work. So that's what's in The Growth of a Writer and A Deeper Me. And then in the back of Coming Soon, there's compilations. There's poems that I've collaborations with other male. They're mainly male poets, but I love writing with other people. It just makes me grow as a writer, and I love because I'm because I'm an editor, and I've been doing that for about 12 years. Being able to pick up the other writer's voice helps with, honestly, I realize it helps with editing because if I can match the tone and the cadence of the other person, then it helps when I correct people's work. So in the back of this one, it's just a lot of other collaborations I had done over the years. But this one was like a 10-year project that I actually finished in a matter of months because a couple people who wanted me to write the book had passed away and I just wanted to do this for them. It's unfortunate that they were gone and they couldn't see the final product, but that's why it's like one of my cherished books. So then after that, we have, I said that, the dark romance novella. It's called Secrets. So this actually, out of all of them, is really true, my baby, because I can't hold a thought for 5 seconds. I'm a poet. It's easy for me to write a poem, bam, snap it out, send it on the way. But for me to have to like stay focused for 150 pages was a project in and of itself.
You know what helps me as a writer, and I'm gonna give you this tip because you sound like me. You know, like sometimes you can just hear a word and write a whole poem about one word. You know what helps me is just if I record it. Like if I'm in thought, yeah, if I'm in thought and somewhere and I am thinking about the next chapter or the next verse in a poem, I just record myself, and
Hmm.
then I'll have it saved. Or you can do like have your Word document or your file over somewhere. You can do speech to text.
Okay.
Also, so I've done that too, and that's something that's helped me because like that too. Like my brain sometimes will go, go, and then I'll have thoughts about something. So that may be something that help you, and then later like put it together. So I definitely relate to that. So that's
I'm gonna
really
definitely try that. No, no, I'm gonna definitely try that because so the way this wasn't even supposed to happen. One of the person I originally started, I started out proofreading, so she like encouraged me, like watching her write books. I'm like, oh my god, I want to try that. And then I was like, oh no, I don't think I have that kind of talent. Like I don't think I have that skill. And I'm like, stop, stop. Even like when I go back and read over my own poetry, I'm like, whoa, I wrote that. So I just stopped, doubting myself. So if there was a word for it, I would think I'd be like a freestyle writer because I would sit down at the computer with no thought process, no idea where I was going, and just let my fingers move on the keys for a while. And then I'm
yeah.
like, oh, wait,
Get
I'm sorry,
into
but
your
runner.
Yeah, it's definitely get into your creative design.
Mm.
And so you have to understand, like, like I tell people, uh, my writing isn't for everybody, and that's okay.
No,
When you put yourself out there, when you write poetry, you really kind of, it's almost like, music, like, like some of the artists that are out today, some of their best music is because of the pain they were going through,
oh my
You
gosh.
can take, yeah, you can take a situation and start writing about that. And it was something I had told a previous author that was on. She's a life coach. Um, we were talking, and somebody said, "Why is your face on the front of your poetry book?" I said, uh, "Because that's why I started to love myself." And the
I love
book is
that.
about love, and self love is important. Like
Definitely.
you have to be comfortable in your own skin, and with your writing. And so I commend you and congratulations on that to be able to put yourself out there, and do the poetry. And so, what is the message that you would tell like young authors or someone getting started?
Write what you want to read. That's really how that goes. Um, and people's and honestly, not to even be inappropriate, but people's opinions be damned. They're not going when you start writing what you think people are going to want to read. You're not that you're holding yourself back. Like I said, that erotic poetry book took me 10 years because I was so nervous about what people would think. I have a project a couple years ago. My ex and I went through a separation. We had been together for over 21 years, and we separated. And I had put I was actually using my phone because was at work, but I started typing and I was going to write a story because that's how, as a writer and especially poetry, that's how we express our feelings. And a lot of people used to tell me, oh my God, look at it. Like my first book, my mother-in-law was like, oh my God, you're so depressed. But realistically, we write to purge ourselves of the emotions that we have inside. We don't have, when we're excited, it's a lot of, and I tried it and I did okay, but it wasn't the same. When we're excited, we live in that moment. But when we're upset, we're trying to purge ourselves of those emotions. So I began writing and then it became like a journal form style of writing. And it's about 22 pages. It's realistically, it is my best work yet because I was so broken, but I'm not ready to like publicly post it because it's a lot of, I have to change a couple of the details around and this, that, and other, but it's so raw. And you have to remember why you started writing. A lot of people go wrong because they go into it thinking, oh, um, I'm going to write what people want. I think they want to know. I think they want to read this. No, it's not about what you think they want to read. Write what you want to read. You're the main. This is for you. My books are my books because I want to see them on my bookshelf. I write for myself all the time. And that's so important. People have to remember to write for themselves. What would you want to read? Would you want to read some wild story that you know nothing about? No.
And that's the same thing. It's like it's the same thing as your interest in movies or your interest in music or things like that. It's your personal journey, and that's the biggest thing. That's important that you said to touch on with the writers. And and just taking the first step to be able to get your first book out there and things like that. And the second thing you said was more most important is people's opinions don't really matter.
But it's
And
oh,
you said it's just like I said something to a friend of mine the other day. I was just like, I'm not trying to be perfect. Um, I'm just trying to be me, and God is watching. And so when I say that, I'm saying that to say nobody is perfect. You know
mm,
what I mean? And I'm the type of person that, live and learn. I'm open to learning and moving up and moving forward. Um, and so with that being said, what is your next project looking like? Where are you going with your next book?
okay, so I'm all over the place. I have a lot of people like really pushing for a sequel to Secrets, and I've got 20 pages in. I'm kind of excited. But because, that wasn't Secrets kind of just accidentally happened. It's not like a passionate project of mine, a passion project of mine. Right now I'm trying to, I don't know, like, um, I've been working on erotic short stories just to keep that going, the momentum with coming soon. I was debating on like, so with the Teach Me series, there's 8 books in here and they're all about, it's, teach me number. It's got teach me numbers, teach me colors, teach me shapes, teach me this vegetables, fruits, opposites. It's 8 different things. It's a picture book, and it grows with the kids. You read it to them when they're little. You show them pictures when they're little, and then as they get older, you can read with them. And I want to like build on that, like teach me words and stuff. But um, so kind of like realistically, I'm just all over the place with projects. I'm not even gonna lie. I have so many projects that I want to work on and that I'm actually actively working on. Um, like as time has gone on, so I am still working on the Teach Me series to build on that. I do have, like I said, the sequel to Secrets is actually in the works. I have short stories that I'm working on. Um, I maintain writing poetry, so I'm debating on what I'm actually working on with that, like actively working on is, and I still write poetry. So I'm actively trying to put them all together, um, like as an anthology. And then I want to add all the new poetry to it. And it's been so many since I published Emotionally Unhinged. So in the last, what was that, 2018? So this is 2023. So like what, 5 years? I've got a lot of poetry I've got to put in there. So I want to build on that and make it as just one giant book like, Edgar Allan Poe and all those people. Um, the other project that I was working, that like I said, I'm working on a whole bunch of projects. So one of the other projects that I'm working on is building. So this is the book it's a little paper thin book called After the Manuscript to teach people how to self publish. And because I've developed because I've gained more knowledge of self publishing, I want to like update that. I want to update that book. So I literally have a lot of projects in my lap. Like it's all when I say works, oh, what whip are you working on? I've got like a whole bunch, and I think that's probably my problem because I don't know which one to like solely focus on. I just put a little bit here and there, and a little there and a little there. So I don't know. It's
But you know what? That's okay. It's okay. And I feel like once because I've done that before, but this year when I do like a vision board every year, and then I did mine. I kind of narrowed down what realistically that I can finish this year.
okay.
Um, but I feel like that's okay, and that's where the space you're at. But you'll figure out, what exactly it is, you want to push next. I feel like it'll come. But I can't wait to dig into all your books because I do support all my authors and I buy their books. And so I can't wait to actually dig into the books. And so I always ask, the authors to pick an author on the platform and support them and buy their book. And rate it because it's important too. Our ratings are important as well.
Yeah.
And so um, I, it's hard as an indie author to get yourself and your name out there. And that's why I created this platform. I just put it together really quickly during COVID because we didn't have a platform. Everything was closing. We couldn't go to the festivals. We couldn't, go speak in person. The kids were at home. And so I've met some absolutely amazing people, telling their story about how they started writing and their journey. And so, um, I know that I'm sure I'll hear from you soon because I love poetry, and we'll definitely connect and continue to network on some things. And so, um, before we go, please let everybody know your website and where they can find all your books.
All of my books are available on Amazon
Okay.
under, my name, Kata E.K. And as of right now, um, let me make sure I get this right. So all of my current and future works will be accessible on Patreon/LaKataEK and OnlyFans/LaKataEK. All my past work I have, it's on Instagram. So it's LAKATA_EK_poetry. I think that's what it is, but
Okay.
it's it's definitely on Instagram. It's definitely on Instagram. But however, like I said, all of my current and future works are available on those two platforms, my OnlyFans and Patreon account with a subscription. And what I'm doing is offering, with the subscription, you get like access to current events, interviews, projects, behind the scenes on projects that I'm working on. I'll do raffles and all kinds of stuff that you won't have access to outside of those platforms.
Okay. So, I look forward to reading your work, and I'm sure that people watching, the audience, can't wait to. But I'm going to put you on the spot because it's National Poetry Month. So I want to hear a poem from you, closing out National Poetry. But uh, I think our viewers would love to hear that. So,
Okay. So with that being said,
okay.
I'm going to read to you my introductory poem, the poem that introduces people to who I am. Let me flip in a book and get it. It's actually probably an emotionally unhinged.
Okay.
Uh, and it actually starts out, it introduces the book. So we're going to use this poem. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
No. I spill my soul on paper for the world and fans to read. And then I'll tear that very paper just to watch the letters bleed. A lover to the lyrics, but a whore to every verse. Though writing is a blessing, it is also my biggest curse. To articulate your feelings so that others will understand makes it easier for them to judge you and see how much you're damned. However, this is who I am. I wouldn't have it any other way. If we haven't been introduced before, I am Kata E.K.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
You are super, super talented. And maybe down the line we can even collab.
I would love to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love poetry. Uh, I love spoken word. And I actually love. Have you been out to teach poetry classes yet?
No, no, I have not. I have not.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have. I did it. The kids. I did. So, and I'll tell you, this is what inspired me to write my poetry. I'll tell you really quickly. My mom got sick. She was in hospice. My grandmother was in hospice. And I was going to grief counseling. And it was really a really hard time for me. And I've always wrote poetry. They're like, keep a journal. And my journal ended up being poetry. And I just kept all these poems and finally published my poetry book. I republished it with J. Mark Pepperstein. And it was healing for me, but it was also introducing me to another side of myself that I didn't that I knew that was there,
Okay.
but didn't utilize any of that talent for years. Just being bombarded with different stuff, and so I'm happy that I was able to come out and write that poetry. But there's definitely the poets on the platform, male poets that I know, so I would love to, like, do some collaborations with
That'll be
some
fun.
other people. But what inspired me to actually do it. So my daughter's teacher, she's like, I hate poetry, and she's like, I know you write poems. Your daughter told me, and I said, sure, I'll come and teach the class, teach poetry class. And
Okay.
we had fun. At the end of the class, one of the other teachers, I took a couple classes, with other teachers that my last poem was published.
Okay.
And
That's
it
fun.
was right. It was she pushed me. She didn't say it in a nice way, but it pushed me to go ahead and publish my work. I think that you would be amazing at doing that. And I think that the kids will actually absolutely enjoy you coming out doing that. So we'll definitely network and talk. And if there's something that I can do to help you, out some classes and stuff like that, I definitely will.
I saw
So
something.
yeah,
I was when I started writing, my parents were going through a divorce. So that's what caused me to start writing poetry. And then what made me publish was I had my daughter and I graduated from high school and I felt like I was stagnant in life. And I'm like, I need to have something for me to be able to have my kid be proud of. It's so crazy. Like I wanted them to be proud. I had one kid, I wanted her to be proud of me. And like she didn't really, it's crazy because they know I write. And one year she really got it really hit her when she was at school and she's like, we were talking about authors and I mentioned that my mom was one and the class was like, oh my gosh, she's like, mom, they were Googling your name and your name popped up and you know, but a lot of young people don't realize how cathartic writing is. Like I had a coworker who was the mother of his child was murdered a couple of years ago and his daughter was having trouble coping. And I said, have her write. And she's like 6 or 7. He's like, what? I said, have her write. Even if you have her write letters to her mom, journal. A lot of people don't understand that writing is really, really cathartic. It's a healing property that people don't tap into often. So I never even thought about the kids, but that would definitely be a great platform for me to reach out to because I'm sure would help them with a lot of stuff. Kids deal with a lot of things and parents especially don't realize it.
yeah, and too, that's why I started writing the kids book, and they could have been labeled as self-help books for kids because the cartoon that I have that's on YouTube, you know, I probably will edit this out because I don't want to keep talking about it. I really want this to be more about you, but I have a cartoon on
No,
YouTube,
you're fine.
uh, and it platforms kids and it represents kids with disabilities.
Okay.
Emily's story is my Wicked family. Emily's story is about a little girl that lost her parents. And it doesn't go into detail about what happened to her parents because I want to leave that to the mom or the dad or the guardian of the kids
Okay.
to open the discussion. With kids, they're so fragile, and you don't want them to ever be afraid that because kids can have anxiety and stress too.
Well,
Um, parents and things like that at a young age. Just I wanted to leave the door open for the adults to have the conversations with the kids about what happened. And so it's an important subject to actually talk to kids about because they are losing their parents at young age. And like you said, writing is therapy. It is therapy, and journaling is therapy. And so it is important. So the cartoon, one of the little girls, she has vitiligo, the other little girl has a prosthetic leg.
okay.
And I feel like that representation needed to be there for kids because you don't see it.
Uh-uh.
Um, if we live in a society, in a world that everything has to be perfect,
Yeah.
perfection and I talked to so there's a series within a series for this year because I talked to parents that have kids with disability. And there is a guy that I interviewed. His name is the vitiligo guy, and he talks to kids. And he came on. He educated me and everybody else about what vitiligo was and things like that. And so kids need to be able to see other kids that are different from
Mhm.
them. And even going into talking about pregnancy, and if the doctor comes to you and says, "Oh, your child's not gonna have quality of life," something, my son's friend has spina bifida. He's in a wheelchair,
Okay.
and these come in and say, you don't have the child. But the bottom line is, you can you can become disabled further down in your life.
Mhm.
You really don't ever know what's going to happen, and so it's important to me to educate kids. Um, and I think it will help with bullying also because kids will look at other kids that don't look like them because they're not
Mhm.
educated at all, and they don't understand. Um, in society, like I said, where everything has to be perfect. When flawless on the magazine covers.
Mhm.
got to be a certain way with society, especially women.
Yeah.
Push that a lot. So for me, I want to educate kids that, it's okay to be
Mhm.
different.
Okay.
Uh, and it is normal, to be different. It is normal. And so to think outside the box. So that was important to me. So that cartoon is on YouTube. It's called My Blended Family Cartoon.
Okay.
And it's make you laugh and stuff. And so it's been something that I wanted to do for a long time, and to actually see it come into play. So that's exciting. Like for us as writers, when we finally get our hands on our book,
Yeah.
it's been for a long time. And so yeah, so you'll definitely have to definitely check it out. And I absolutely loved interviewing you today and talking to you. And like I said, congratulations on all your projects.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to release the interview and start by hearing your culture. You're absolutely so talented. And so I
Thank
look forward to all your future endeavors. And again, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. I am so pleased. Thank you.